One of the hard parts of writing for a lot of writers is rewriting, editing, going back into that manuscript, back into that poem, fixing it, getting it the way you want it. This is challenging for a lot of writers and for a lot of reasons. Though I should point out, just for the record, there are writers, and I've met them, who find the hardest part to be the first draft. And they are happiest when they've got that down and then they can get their hands into something. But they're kind of unicorns, those people, because most writers I have known, particularly when I'm talking or teaching fearless writing, the hardest part is the editing. And there's two reasons for that, I think. The first is that the manuscript is now in a form that other people can see. Because while you're writing the first draft, all your focus is internal for the most part as the story, as the poem, as the screenplay comes out. It's in, it's out. So your focus is largely in a place no one else can see. And the story unfurls sort of behind you as you go forward through the story. Okay, but now you come to rewriting, and literally it's in a form other people can see. They could get on your computer and read it there, or maybe you printed it out. They can see it. And so the inclination to begin worrying about what they think about it is stronger. And also, as you read it, the inclination to worry what people would think about it is going to come up because, of course, you're trying to get it as good as you can. And that question of what would people think about it's going to come up as you reread it. Okay. And so you've got to be disciplined. I'm trying to find the story, get it the way I want it. Don't have to worry about other people. Okay. That's the first half of why this is challenging. But the second has to do with those moments, and there's going to be a lot of them, where you have to address the parts that aren't working. And what's really important to remember about rewriting is that most of your attention is going to be on stuff that isn't working. Now, it's nice when you see the stuff that is working. It's reassuring, yeah, but also it's kind of like a nice tuning fork. In other words, yeah, that's what I want it to be like. That's what a scene should be like. That's what dialogue should be like for me. And so the good stuff, the stuff that you like, the stuff that's working for you, it's a good reminder. Like I said, it's a good tuning fork. But most of our attention when we're rewriting is going to be on the stuff that isn't working. So we're going to spend all this time with sentences and scenes and whole chapters that just aren't coming together. And that can be a little frustrating, a little confusing, a little disheartening. It's kind of like failure, 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 failure. Okay, so what do you do? Well, and by the way, this has come up because I'm in the process of rewriting a longer piece that I'm working on. And I spend a lot of time sitting with the ending, the passage, the part that just didn't come together the first or second time I took a swing at it. And I can get a little disheartened. What should be here? I don't know. And a part of me just thinks, I don't know. I wish I could just give this to someone and let them fix it. But no one can fix it. No one can write it but me. And I've learned that the best thing I can do when I come to those moments that I need to find that aren't right is to remind myself that the question I need to be asking is, well, what do you want it to be? What does it want to be? Now, when I ask that question, I have to be prepared for not having an answer. In other words, I read it, I say, that's not what I want it to be. But instead of getting frustrated, instead of thinking someone else would do it better, instead of being ashamed, instead of thinking, oh my God, why can't I get it right? If I instead ask, well, what do I want it to be? And accept that the answer probably won't come right away. But now at least my attention is directed to where it needs to be. All the suffering and uncertainty is largely a product of our attention being where it shouldn't be. If it's inside us, where the story is being told, where all the answers to our questions come, now we're in the seat of our creativity, the seat of our security. What do I want it to be? It's okay that I don't have the answer, but if I can sit with what I want a story to be, with what I want this moment to be, even though I don't have the words for it. I just spent a half an hour working on this one paragraph this morning. What do I want it to be? I can feel it. I'm close, but I don't want to just say it like this. That's not going to work. So I sat with it until the sentence came. Oh, it's very gratifying. What do I want it to be? When you do that, again, you have directed your attention inside where your creativity exists, where your curiosity exists, where your muse speaks to you. You direct it in, and you're where you belong, and eventually the answer will come. That's how I do rewriting. That's how I make it easier. What's the hard part for you? What is it? Is it rewriting? Maybe. I'd like to hear. Maybe you've got a different take on it. Maybe you've got a different angle. I'd love to hear that. Yeah. I'd love to hear your tales of rewriting successes and failures. And I'd like to just hear from you, period. If you like these little say so. And if you don't want to miss anything, hit subscribe. That way you'll be guaranteed. So until next week, this is Bill Kenower. Stay fearless.